everybody. We are on the road, on our way to Louisville, Kentucky. Boys trip this weekend. Let's go. Woo! But anyways, the NBA season starts next Tuesday, guys, and I'm excited about it. How about you, Nick?
I'm pumped. Tuesday, man. Tuesday. Stoked.
We are all stoked, guys. As you can tell, the NFL season is in full swing. Week 7 here, I believe. Just kicked off last night between the Broncos and the Saints. If you missed that game, you didn't miss much. But we're ready for the NBA to start. We're ready for the preseason to be over with, and we're ready to give our predictions on where we think each conference, where each team is going to land. Obviously, we're still doing the play-in tournament, which is one of the most fun things to do. Kind of brings that NCAA vibe to NBA has along with the in-season tournament, but we will get it kicked off here. We will start in the Eastern Conference, and we will let one of the D's in the back go first. So shoot it off for us, and let's get the ball rolling.
10th seed, I got the Chicago Bulls. They can really go two directions this year, either selling everyone or not, but I think they'll keep the majority of their core together, and 11 through 15 in the East isn't very strong, so whatever they decide to go with, I think they'll have enough pieces. Lonzo's back, hopefully he stays healthy, and then of course other guys like Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Vucevic, etc. They'll be good enough to make the play-in.
All right, what about you, Dan?
Number 10, I got Charlotte. I had Chicago at first, but I changed it. That's why Brandon Miller, I think he will have a good year, and LaMelo, the dynamic duo for their team. So then Charlotte.
Last year they were 21-61, so he thinks they're going to be a 10 seed, which was the Hawks last year at 36-46. You know what? Me personally, let's go Hornets at number 10 too. Let's ride that wave. I like that a lot, actually. I was going to put the Bulls there as well, but LaMelo, needs his time. Brandon Miller out here posterizing guys. We love the Hornets announcer as well, and I want to hear him announce more games in the playoffs as well, at least in the play-in tournament, if at that. So that's who I have at number 10. Last but not least, Nick, who do you got at number 10?
Washington.
The Wizards.
I think they're going to be much better than people think. Do I think they're going to make the final cut? No. But I think they will be the 10th seed. I mean, they have Valanciunas now at center. They did draft Sarr, number 2 overall, which is supposed to be this highly touted, athletic big. He's got one of the worst plus minuses for preseason so far, second only to Bronny James. You still have Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma. Those are your big sort of explosion offensive guys. So I'm going to have them as the 10th seed.
All right, as a 10 seed, just want to remind everybody in the play-in tournament, if you lose that game, you're out of the playoffs. So these 10 seed isn't something where like, we think they're going to make the playoffs, but they at least put themselves in the spot to at least have that chance, even if they have a losing record. With that being said, we move on to pick number 9. And Dylan, go ahead.
9, I have the Brooklyn Nets. A pretty young team. They got fun guys to watch like Claxton, and I really like Cam Thomas. He's really fun to watch. Other than those two and Cam Johnson, I can't think of really who else is on their team. It'll be I see him being a lot of trap games for other teams this year.
Malik Bridges is on that team, right?
No, he's on the Knicks.
It's not the...
Oh yeah, he got traded. You're right.
I see him being a trap game for a lot of teams. Definitely a team that you can't take a night off on just because of how young they are. Lots of energy. I don't see him being any higher than that though, but I think they'll be a fun team to watch. That's at 9.
What about you, Dan?
Got the Atlanta Hawks.
Ooh.
Trae Young. Bring the Hawks to a 9 seed. They've kind of been around that for the past couple of years.
I knew that was coming. That was going to happen, guys.
I think about that.
All right. Well, with that being said, the Hawks are at number 9. Me personally, let's see here. I got 3 teams to pick from, but go ahead and give me the Chicago Bulls. Give me the Chicago Bulls at number 9. You know, I do. They did trade away one of my favorite players, DeMar DeRozan, but I think he's going to play very well in the Kings in the Western Conference. But, you know, Lonzo's back. How healthy can he be? How many games is he going to play this year? You know, also with Zach LaVine, how healthy can he be? Is he going to be a 30-point points per game scorer this year? I don't know. You know, Kobe White, he's a dog as well. So they still got pieces. They can still, you know, make the play-in tournament. They can still give them a shot to make the playoffs. But with that being said, that's what I've got for number 9. Nick, who do you round out for the number 9 seed as our play-in teams? And then next we will go into who we actually think potentially will make the playoffs.
Yeah, so at number 9, I have the Charlotte Hornets. Very similar to what Dylan had said for them being his 10th seed.
Dan.
I mean,
Dan.
sorry. LaMelo Ball is a borderline all-star. He just needs to stay healthy.
Yep.
Miles Bridge will have a full off-season, but even when he came back halfway through last year, or whenever he came back last year, he was a 20-point per game scorer.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they still have a lot of pieces around their team where they need to figure out. They traded away PJ Washington. So I thought that was a big piece that they used to have. But I think they'll be good enough to be the 9th seed.
Good enough to be the 9th seed. All right, Dylan, start us with the traditional 1 through 8 seed. As now, it's obviously the 1 through 6 seed is guaranteed a spot. But if we were going, you know, years in the past, 1 through 8, who do you got at number 8?
I have the Heat. The 8th spot seems like what have they had? Like the last 2 or 3 years, it seems like. So, I mean, they got the All-Star and Jimmy Butler and enough pieces to surround him with Tyler Hero and Bam, I really like. But, I mean, other than those 3 players, really nothing. A bunch of 3-and-D guys for the most part. Enough to get the job done, but nothing past that. So I got the Heat being the 8th seed again.
All right. What about you, Dan?
So I like Orlando. They could get higher, maybe like a 6, but I have them as my 8th seed. I see them maybe dropping a little bit. They have a good team overall. But like I said, I just see them I got other teams, you know, ahead of them, so they're gonna take a step back this year and not get as many games. So that's who I'll know who's on the team, but Orlando's my number 8.
Orlando's is number 8. You know, as I'm looking at these standings, there is a team that made the playoffs last year that won't make the playoff in my eyes, but you'll figure it out soon. But for my number 8, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Hawks. I like Trae Young. He's his 7th year in the league. You know, they got rid of Murray. You know, how well can that team, you know, is Trae good enough to carry his team into the playoffs? I think so. Give me the Hawks at the number 8.
You don't think he gets traded?
I don't think so. I think he stays.
Before I say my pick, where did DeJounte Murray get traded to? Anybody know? Pelicans.
He did,
Wow.
yes.
I didn't realize that. That gives me a different thought on the Pelicans, actually. But just come back, stay in the East. My number 8 seed is going to be Miami as well. I mean, they've been flirting with the 7-8 seed for like the last 3 years. They
Yep.
just do enough year in and year out to, you know, be that sort of fringe playoff team. But I have them as my 8th seed. You know, the Heat. They might have a really good maybe steal in the late first round of Khalil Ware from IU, by the way. He balled out in summer league, and he's done pretty okay in preseason. So I think he'll be a big factor. Yes, he's going to come off the bench behind Bam, but I think they could play them both together at the same time, and that would be a really tough sort of defensive front court to go through. So I have Miami as the 8th seed.
All right. Now we move on to the 7th seed. You know, these are where the picks, you know, get a little bit better, and we're like, okay, these teams at least will have winning records. Dylan, start us off.
7, I have the Orlando Magic. Kind of like what Riley said, I believe that in the East, 2 through 7, it can kind of be mixed around whichever way you want. I know they were a higher seed last year. They're a young, fun team with guys like Paolo and Franz Wagner.
Wagner.
Yep.
They got the veteran presence now of KCP. He said this is the first team he's ever been on where everyone likes to play defense. So I see if a mixture of young players and defensive presence gets them higher than that. But really, 2 through 7 can be mixed wherever you like. So I got the Magic at 7.
Good pick. What about you, Dan?
I got Miami, so because they've been floating around the 8th seed the past couple of years. I definitely think they have the talent to move up a notch, and I'm in Jimmy Butler and Bam. We'll take a team to, I think, the 7th seed.
Okay.
Also, they need to speak up. Miami, number 7 seed, Bam, and Jimmy Butler.
I like it. You know, I like this trend of like the 7 seed, 8 seed where the Heat got. But give me the Philadelphia 76ers as my 7 seed. If you're gonna play and you're gonna make the playoffs, you gotta stay healthy. And I think, just what Nick and everybody's saying, that what the Miami Heat have been able to do, they've just been average. They've just been able to do enough. And I think that's what the 76ers are gonna do this year. They're just gonna be enough. Tyrese Maxey is gonna be that number 1 option when Joel Embiid's hurt or he's not playing back-to-back, just like Paul George. So look for Tyrese Maxey to take a lot of shots this year, just like he did last year. But give me the 76ers as the 7th seed.
So I'm going to go with Dylan and I are going to be 2 for 2. So we had Miami Heat as the 8th seed. Now we're going to do Orlando Magic as the 7th seed. So I also have Orlando as my 7th seed. Very similar to what Dylan said. They were a 5th seed, if I recall, last year.
They were, yep.
But they're not going to be as high. Like, I think they shocked the league just like the Pacers did, and how consistent they were throughout the entire year. Except Orlando was just that notch higher as far as the Pacers are concerned in that comparison. But I think this year they'll just fall off just a bit to the 7th seed. They got Franz, they got Jalen Suggs, they got Paolo Banchero, they have Cole Anthony.
Wendell Carter.
They have Wendell Carter, yes. Is Jonathan Isaac still there?
Yes.
They have Jonathan
Somehow.
Isaacs. And like Dylan said, the addition of KCP, I think, is extremely good pickup from them. I mean, he's that type of veteran that you would want on your team.
Two-time champ.
Is two-time
Lakers
champ
and
with the
the
Lakers
Nuggets.
and the Nuggets. Which is interesting, not to go against that paraphrase that you said KCP said about this is the first team that he's been on that they really want to play defense, because that Lakers team when they won in the bubble was all defensive team. So it's so just interesting that he said that. So what?
Bubble was also a different experience. They had
That's-
nothing better to do.
That's
Show up, be balling you.
That's true. But yeah, give me the Magic as the 7th seed.
They also got a catchy song.
They do. So, now we get to the 1 through 6 seeds, which this means you are guaranteed a playoff spot in the playoffs. Dylan, who is your first team guaranteed into the playoffs this year?
6th seed, I have the Philadelphia 76ers.
All right.
What?
Or 3 for 3, Dylan, but keep talking.
Kind of going back, the East was pretty banged up last year. That's why you see a couple teams lower this year, like the Magic and the 76ers, than what they were last year. The 76ers, they were...
The 7th seed last
Oh,
year.
so never mind, disregard that. That's why the Magic dropped, because people are going to be healthier this year. But 76ers, on paper, they look good. I really like Maxey. But Embiid and PG are 2 top 5 injury-prone stars. They're both already hurt. The season hasn't even started. But I believe with that, with those guys, when they are playing in the lineup, they'll do fairly good. Expect big things from Embiid, even though he's not even 30 and not playing back-to-backs for the rest of his career, he said.
Rest of his
They'll be good enough to get the 6th seed, but I don't see anything better than that with the other teams that we'll list later. Philadelphia at 6.
What about you, Dan?
You got Cleveland Cavaliers. I think they've been also kind of like floating around the 4, 5, 6 seed. I think they're going to take a little step back to 6 seed. Donovan Mitchell and their squad. Like I said, they can make a 4 or 5 seed, but like I said, 6 is where I'm going to have them go get to this year for the Eastern Conference.
It's not a bad pick, and I was waiting for someone to pick the Cavs because I do not have them in the playoffs this year. I got them missing it. I'm not as hype on the Cavs.
I don't know if
as
we're doing
what-
hot takes, but
I know we're not doing hot takes, but they're just not in my playoffs. I think Donovan Mitchell potentially gets traded. I just don't think it's going to work out for him in Cleveland anymore. But give me the Miami Heat as a number 6 seed. I think they step it up and they are guaranteed to make the playoffs this year.
Damn, no Cavs.
No Cavs. You got the number 6 seed.
I'm sorry. I'm still reflecting off what you just said.
Oh, trust me, I knew everybody was. I knew.
Not even like a 9-10 seed.
I got
They're
it.
gonna be worse than the Hornets or the.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep, I
or
got
the
'em.
you have Brooklyn over the Cavs. Is that what you did? You say Brooklyn, or was that you said Brooklyn?
I had Brooklyn at
Okay, 9.
No, I got Hornets, Bulls, Hawks.
Oh,
76ers. So,
even Chicago. Oh my gosh.
if I said it, I'm sticking with it.
I think he's gonna be swallowing those words.
Oh, don't put money down on that.
I'm doing that.
I mean, if you do, that's a big payout. but-
That's true. That's true.
All right. To shake off the cobwebs of that extremely sizzling take there, at the 6th seed, I have the Cavs as well. At the 6th seed.
And that's what we'll say.
I'm sorry. The 76ers. Sorry,
Oh,
'cause
76ers.
I had said the same as Dylan. Sorry.
Just put Nick down for copy and paste what I said.
You're just talking first, Dylan.
Got it.
Yeah, so I have the 76ers at that. They literally have all-stars at all 3 levels, at guard, forward, and center. I don't know if Maxey was an all-star, but he should have been last year, actually. But
He was.
He
he
was.
was. Okay, so they have all-star at
about the
all 3
practice.
levels. Yes, their entire potential of that team resides on health.
Yep.
If Joel is healthy, I mean, he's, in my opinion, second best center behind Jokic, but he's still one of the most dominant forces in the game, or if not the most dominant forces. Paul George, like, his mid-range is still elite, and he's still a good defender as well. And Tyrese Maxey is still an
He's awesome.
emerging star.
He's a great player.
So he's a little bit fanatic player, like just the way he moves and the way he plays.
But he can play.
However, health is still going to be the number one cloud hanging over this team. Can they stay healthy? I think they stay healthy enough to be the 6th seed, to be guaranteed in that
Jared
playoff.
McLean's also banged up too, as of yesterday.
So let's just put question marks around the 76ers, obviously, as we will all season long. But now we move on to the 5 seed. This is where you get into the top 5 teams where you're like, all right, these teams, like Dylan was kind of saying, 2 through 6, 2 through 7, can really change. So who do you got at number 5, Dylan?
Number 5, I have the Indiana Pacers. I really wanted to put them 4. I tried not to play biased here because that's all of our teams. But the Pacers turned a lot of heads last year. Exciting offense. Kind of hit a rough patch in the middle of the year, and then they went out and got Siakam, and that really turned things around for them.
Welcome to Indy.
They got a couple question marks on who they're going to potentially be getting rid of in the next year or 2. Who's going to be getting the rotational minutes? They have to figure out, but I'm really hoping everyone plays to their full potential this year. This team's really fun to watch.
We're the fastest team in the
And
NBA.
I wanted to put them 4. I even thought about 3 maybe, but I'll go into that in further detail when I get to those picks.
All right, Pacers at number 5. You know, shocking coming from Dylan. But who do you got at number 5, Dan? Are you a copy and paster?
Yeah,
He's
honestly,
copy and
as
paster.
soon- As soon as Dylan said it, I was like, I already had him at number 5 because basically same thing in terms of like the top 4 teams, where like if your team stays healthy, then you have a better chance. But yeah, Halliburton, Siakam, I mean we got a good team. I mean they can get higher, but it's all about staying healthy. And obviously they had a really good year, so I think they continue it and they'll start off strong. And I think they'll get the 5 seed.
Getting the 5 seed. All right. At my number 5 seed, I'm going to go with the Magic. You know, I think, you know, just like what everyone else has been saying about the Magic, they're a good squad. They're a young squad. You know, I think they do take that next leap this year and, you know, play pretty well. So give me the Magic at number 5.
So this is where Dylan and I's streak comes to an end. It stopped at 3.
I figured.
I am not going with the Pacers, as Dylan said, and Dan said. I am instead going with another Midwest team. I'm going with the Cleveland Cavaliers as the 5th seed. They still have Donovan Mitchell. They still have Darius Garland. You have Jared Allen. You have Evan Mobley. You have whoever they would put in at forward, whether it's Karis LeVert or Isaac Okoro, they're really going to be a top 10 defensive team this year. For sure, one of the better front courts, with the twin towers of Allen and Mobley. So I'm going with Cleveland as my 5th seed.
That's a good pick. Just kidding. No, it is. Just not on my
I
roster.
honestly think, Riley, you need to be drug tested before. That was new.
All right, with that being said, Dylan, who do you have at your number 4 seed? This is, things are getting spicy. They're heating up.
4 seed, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, a lot of what Nick said, I think Mitchell's going to have another great season. I have him up for one of the Clutch Player of the Years, as well as bold take, kind of a hot take and a bold take. Well, I guess it's the same thing, but I can see Mitchell easily averaging the most points in the Eastern Conference this year. I think Jared Allen, the experiment of those two, Mobley and Allen, I think Allen gets traded, and I think they give the full load to Mobley, no Diddy. But
Yeah, this sure was a hot take.
pretty good defensive team, I think, for the most part. I think Allen, they do finally part ways
Slippery
with.
one.
I'm high on Mobley. Garland's super underrated. I don't even know if he got taken in our fantasy draft that we did last night, but
Who,
I
Mobley?
really like the Cavs. 3 through 5 are really interchangeable. It just depends on health at the end of the day.
All right, Dan, what about you, number 4, baby?
Number 4 got Philadelphia. So again, is beating everybody in terms of staying healthy. Joel Embiid. It all depends on what he does, how he does.
Facts.
Paul George, same story about being healthy. And then Maxi's good, really, really good player. And I mean, they got a good overall team, but yeah, Philadelphia, it's all about their health. So that's number 4.
Makes a lot of sense, man. At my number 3, this
Four.
team, or my number 4, sorry. This team either wins it this year or they blow it up at the end of the year.
I already know what you're saying.
Give me the Milwaukee Bucks. And that's very true. Giannis even said it. He was like, hey, I'm here to win another chip, and if we can't figure this shit out, I'm gone. And that's coming from your best player. It also comes from him, also needing to be healthy. They have surrounded him with, a great level of talent, but, I just don't think Dame is happy there as well. So, like I said, I think they'll be locked in this year, and I think they're going to make a push, and if it just doesn't work, we're going to see a different kind of Bucks team in the next year. So that is my number 4.
Riley, maybe you and I will start a streak. My number 4 is going to be also Milwaukee Bucks. I am not as high as Riley is as far as he thinks that they will go all the way or not at all. I think they're in the playoffs. I think they're the 4th seed. I think you still have my favorite player, Giannis, on the team. I think last year was really maybe the first year that he was really just taken away by the injury bug. But when he was on the floor, I mean, averaging almost 30 points a game, if not, double-double machine. There's no one more fun to watch, in my opinion, than watching Giannis play. He's never going to take an off game. He might go 0 for 15 from the free throw line, but he is going to shoot the ball still. That's what makes him, in my opinion, so great. It's his effort level. Now, it is an older team. You got guys like Brook Lopez. You got guys like Chris Middleton. Guys like Damian Lillard.
Jay Crowder. Yes. You have older Bobby Portis, who isn't an older player, but he is approaching 30. He plays like an older player.
Yeah. So,
I'll say that.
it is an older team. It is probably one of the most veteran teams you will find. They've all been there, done that. They've all been in the playoffs, have so much experience under their belt in the playoffs. But they'll go as far as Giannis can take them.
Yeah. That's very true. All right, now we get into our 1, 2, and 3 are the best 3 teams in the Eastern Conference this year. Dylan, who do you got at number 3?
At 3, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. So the 3rd straight team from the Eastern Conference. What division are they? Central?
Yeah.
Central Division 4 team overall in the playoffs.
They went 49 and 33 last year.
Are you telling me Detroit's going to be yours too?
Yeah, maybe either way.
Ooh, anticipation.
What was I going to say? This purely comes down to how healthy just like health, like a bunch of other teams that we've listed so far. Kind of what Riley's already said, Nick. This is kind of, I think, Giannis's last hurrah if it doesn't work out. You got Lopez and Middleton aging. You're still eating that contract from Holiday and Lillard, and Giannis is a pretty penny. So they're really pushing that salary cap. I think if they stay healthy, they are definitely a top 3 team in the East. They don't make Eastern Conference or Finals. I could see them blowing stuff up because they aren't a big market team. They can't really afford this. But if they stay healthy, they are on paper a top 3 team in the East. So I'm anticipating that, and I got the Bucks at 3.
He's got the Milwaukee Bucks at 3. Are their ticket sales going to be as good as what they have been in the past few years? We'll find out. But Dan, who do you got at your number 3?
For the number 3 seed for the East, I got the New York Knicks.
Hell yeah.
Obviously, they had a really good year last year. I think were they number 3 last year?
Yeah.
They were the number 2 seed last year at 50 wins and 32 losses.
Yeah, so I think they're going to have another strong year. And they got Karl-Anthony Towns over the summer. So that's crazy. But yeah, Brunson, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart. They got a good team. They got a good bench as well, I think. So as with every team, as long as they stay healthy, they can definitely be one of the top teams in the East.
Well, Dan, I'm going to copy and paste you, man. I've got the Knicks at number 3. And I've got the Knicks at number 3 because of Tom Thibodeau being the coach that he is, ruined Derrick Rose's career. He's going to ruin a lot of players' careers. You can't play your starters for 40 minutes. I'm sorry. You can try, and you can do it, and he will do it, but that's going to take significant toll on your body. Yes, when it comes to playoffs time, that's totally fine. You're playing in 40 minutes a game. Playoffs is a totally different breed. I understand, and I get that, but you can't do that during the regular season. And yes, you added Cap, and yes, he's going to be a great defensive presence. I just don't think he's going to be as good as what he is. In Minnesota, this stupid ass Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't know how to not foul out of the games. Like, that's his number 1 problem. You got to learn to stop fouling. And if he can't figure that out and Tom Thibodeau's going to play for 40 minutes, you're not going to be in the game all 40 minutes because you're going to foul out. That's just my take personally. But with adding Towns, he is a great player. He's going to give you a double-double every night. He's going to get you 20 points. I get that. And with them still having OG and, the players that they still have with, Jalen Brunson and stuff like that. That's why I got them at the 3 seed. But I'm putting them at a 3 seed, and that's as high as they're getting.
Okay.
Are we the same?
All right, let me paint you guys a sorry, I'm coughing to myself. Let me paint you guys a picture. Okay, let me tell you a story. I know Riley gave us like 2 minutes, so it'll be short.
2.5 minutes or short.
All right. You have your number 1 guard. He passes it to your other guard. He passes it back to your number 1 guard. He passes it back to your other guard. There's 10 seconds left on the clock. Okay? Heaves it up from almost the scoreboard. Bang! Nembhard for 3!
How's that thing?
One of the most incredible playoff moments in Pacers history.
And he did not travel.
And he fought, and that was him following that up from what Tyrese Halliburton did the series before, I believe, with the Milwaukee one, with the floater down the lane, both of which were at home. The crowd nuts. I believe, were you at that game, right?
No, we were at Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
We were.
Right.
Died that day.
Yep, we were.
We were there in spirit, though. We were going loud at that bar.
I have the Pacers as my number 3 seed. I think with Siakam a full year now, full training camp, off-season, preseason games, it clicked at the back end of last year. I wish Siakam would have stepped up a little bit more in the second and third round of the playoffs last year, like he did in the round versus Milwaukee. Didn't happen. He's still clearly the number 2 option for the Pacers. I just think we are one of the most gelled teams in the league. Everyone knows their role. No one is that selfish. If anything, Halliburton might need to be more selfish at times. Because if he turns it on, that's going to take the Pacers even to the next level. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. And honestly, they were 10 seconds away from stealing game 1. And honestly, that series, had they done that, I think would have been different. I'm not saying the Pacers would have won, but I'm saying it wouldn't have been a sweep. And which
Mike
it
Missoula
was.
said that was the hardest series they played, and they won 4-0.
So, give me the Pacers at the 3 seed. I-N-D-Y.
That's facts. That's facts. All right, Dylan. I think I know who your number 2 seed is, but give it to us.
At 2, as much as it pains me, I have the New York Knicks. So same spot that they were last year. I would have loved to see a couple of games, or at least a season, with all the Nova boys together.
That's true.
As much of the rivalry they have with Indiana, this is a team I secretly love to watch. They're a fun team. I think Cat makes them slightly better, but I think it also opens up some holes, like Riley mentioned. Overall, really defensively sound team. Well spread out team. I expect them to do a lot or better in areas that they did last year. And really, again, 2 through 7, like I said, it can go any certain way. You never know what's going to shake out, who's going to be healthy, who's going to show up. But I have the Knicks as the 2nd seed in the East.
Shake and bake, baby. All right, who do you got your number 2 seed, Dan?
The Milwaukee Bucks.
Wow.
They're always floating around the top 3 past
I like his.
however many years. I would say 3, 4, or 5 years. Milwaukee Bucks are always one of the top Eastern Conference teams.
That's true.
Damian Lillard and Giannis will have a good connection, I believe.
Can't get it right.
And I think they will, kind of just take their team to the number 2 seed.
That's actually a really good take, for the Bucks to be a number 2 seed. But me at my number 2 seed, I've got the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers weren't
I like it,
projected
though.
to get to the Eastern Conference Finals until year 3. That's what Rick Carlisle said. And we're supposed to get there until in 2 years from now. So for them to already be there, they've already got that experience. So what's holding them back now? I'll tell you the thing that's holding them back is Rick Carlisle's court case that is going to start happening in January. That is the only thing that I could see taking away from this team if he has to step away and he can't coach for whatever reason, whatever that ruling is. But hopefully, that's not the case. I don't exactly know all the details within this court case, what exactly else going on, but I saw it. It is true. It's a fact. Like I said, I have to do more research into it. But, if you take away your head coach, you take away a lot of what you're doing, obviously. But, I think the players still know what their goal is, know what they need to do. And that's why I've got the Pacers at the number 2 seed.
We're going to talk off camera about what you're talking about. But at my number 2 seed, I think this is where Dylan and I start our streak back up, because I'm pretty sure our 2 and 1 seeds are going to be the same. But obviously, with saying that, my number 2 seed is the New York Knicks. I do like the addition of Karl Anthony Towns. I do not like what the Knicks gave up for him. I think it was an overpriced for Karl Anthony Towns. Because the departure of Dante DiVincenzo, I think, actually hurts the Knicks a bit with that. Just because he also, just like I talked about the Pacers culture and everyone fitting in, buying in, DiVincenzo bought into what Tom Thibodeau was selling to the team. He fit their culture and their vibe extremely, extremely well. So that'll be a big miss. But I do, again, like the addition of Karl Anthony Towns. I think he will be that centerpiece that they were missing. Not that later in the year, Isaiah Hartenstein wasn't that big piece for them, but Cat gives that extra sort of oomph on the defensive and offensive end. And I think it will spread the floor a little bit more too, so Brunson can dribble the ball 40 times.
That's true.
So I think they will be the 2 seed. I don't know if their record will be as good as last year. I think across the board, the Eastern Conference, I think all of their records will be slightly down, just because I think the competition is a little bit more. I don't think there's as top-heavy teams this year as there might have been last year or in years prior. So, New York Knickerbockers with the number 2 seed.
And then if I had to guess everybody's number 1 seed, and we'll say it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Boston Celtics.
Everybody kind of knew that was coming. I think I can kind of sum it up for all of us. They're the best damn team on paper. They're the best. They've got the best roster. I mean, they've got one of the best coaches in the league. They know what their organization, what their goal was. They went out and did it. They got it. Is there anything that I'm missing, guys, from the Boston Celtics?
It's just difficult to bet against them because of everything you said.
I had the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah!
Motor City, baby.
Yeah, we'll drug test you too, Dylan, but yeah.
But I mean, with that being said, guys, we appreciate you coming along and listening to our Eastern Conference final rankings. We're going to come out with another video, just so this one's not as long, so you guys don't have to scroll all the way through it, of the Western Conference play as well, and where we see them being 1 through 10, and what hot takes do we have in there, what team doesn't make the playoffs that did make the playoffs last year. So with that being said, peace out.